For some reason, Dr. Hansra thought I should be here, and here I am. There's no way to say no to Dr. Hansra. He is such a fine representative of this magnificent community and is indeed a man of great peace and a magnificent servant. While I've been listening, my mind went all the way back to my early beginnings. I was born and raised in the state of Mississippi, and in the days when racial bigotry was paramount and white supremacy ruled, black life meant absolutely nothing. Being raised in that environment meant that I had to be protected. And I was protected by the love of strong women who taught the principle of love. Some of those strong women followed me from the south side of Chicago tonight, and they're here. And I just have to recognize them. They are the mothers boards of our congregation. Just wave your hand over there. One of the questions they asked me, said, "Do we have to sit on the floor?" Thank you for your hospitality and the way in which you received all of us. I am also a product of the civil rights movement under the leadership of Dr. Martin Luther King. And one of the things that we did a lot, we would sing, and we would sing songs of peace and songs of service and songs of togetherness and unity. And as a result of that kind of singing, I believe that I somehow developed this tenacity to love. So the question was, how could I wind up in this global setting? I mean, folk from strange languages and cultures and different ways of looking at the world. How did I wind up here? Some of the words that were used, especially from Dirk Ficker, when he was talking about the way in which Jesus laid it out. And the things that Jesus would say: love your enemies, do good to those who despitefully use you, pray for your enemies. And then I heard about light. Jesus says, you're the light of the world. A light that is set on a hill cannot be hid. You're the salt of the earth. That means that we are actively involved in caring and preserving and taking care and serving one another. I was up in the California mountains not too long ago, Northern California, where the redwoods are, the Sequoia giganticus, those great trees. I was amazed at the height and the size of those trees, all of them standing there so stately. I said, wow, these trees must have deep, deep roots in the ground to have survived all these centuries. But on closer examination, I looked, and the root systems really ran shallow, like 3 feet underneath. But the secret to their longevity was not the depth of the root, but the tendency of those roots to spread out in a powerful network, connecting with each other so that they could withstand earthquakes and storms. They stood there. I would say that the reason why I'm standing here is because I've been able to enjoy a powerful network of folk. Different from me, languages are different, cultures are different, but nonetheless unified around a common goal of unity and togetherness. Pathway to peace is service. Jesus said very clearly, he who would be great among you must be servant of all. servant of all, irregardless of race and color and creed. And I close by reflecting on this. It took me a while to learn to forgive white people because of the history of chattel slavery, the history of racial discrimination based on skin color, the Jim Crow laws. It took me a long time to forgive them. But what hurt most was the racial beating I took during the days of voter registration, during Fannie Lou Hamer's days, those of you who may remember. Yeah. We were beaten within inches of our lives with axe handles. A calcified knot still is in the back of my head from that beating. One day, I told my story to some white colleagues, most of whom were from the state of Mississippi. They said, well, Herb, would you allow us to pray for forgiveness for those who did this to you? I said, but more importantly, pray that I can forgive them. The greatest service in the world was when those guys laid their hands on the back of my head, on that calcified knot, and prayed with me into the spirit of forgiveness. There won't be peace unless we can serve a generous dose of forgiveness and love to those who despitefully use us, and learn to pray for our enemies. Rohitten just said something very powerful. Let there be peace on earth, and let that peace begin with me. Let there be forgiveness on this earth, and let that forgiveness begin with me. God bless you, community of Sikhism. I know what pain you have endured in the recent years, as well as your history. But the spirit of forgiveness and the spirit of peace is your gift. Thank you for sharing it with us. God bless you.
You're welcome.